Please welcome to the High Five stage, Johannes Flecker.
Good afternoon. What are you doing the rest of your life? North and south and east and west of your life. All I ever will request of your life, that you spend it all with me. All the seasons and the times of your days, all the nickels and the dimes of your days. Let the reasons and let the rhymes of your days all begin and end with me. I want to see your face in every kind of light, in fields of dawn and forests of the night. And when you stand before the candles on a cake, oh, let me be the one to hear the silent wish you make. As artists, as songwriters, as musicians, thank you. We have a great power to connect to our audiences. With the songs we sing, with the songs we write, the way how we present our songs, giving so much of our personality away, being vulnerable, being authentic, being honest. So there's a lot that we can do as musicians. And that's how I grew up as well, in a family of classical musicians in Austria. Not that family that you might know from your annual Christmas tradition. That's so beloved in the United States. And I played, piano, violin, sang in my father's choir. So all our lives was around music, singing at our families, our grandparents' funerals, to connect to the family, to share the love we had for them, to sing at all the weddings. So it was only a very consequent way that growing up in such a family, I became a management consultant. Working for companies helped them solve problems. And what I saw there in this way is that it's very mind and intellect heavy, but not really a lot of emotions, not really a lot of real connection to your audience, but a lot of stiffness, sometimes sadness, sometimes boredom, sometimes greatness. But I thought, something is missing. So I need to quit my job because of that reason, because I wanted to go to Berklee College of Music, and now I'm doing this kind of all day long, helping organizations connect mind and senses to their work. The song I started singing at the beginning is all about that. What are you doing the rest of your life? Have you ever thought of this question in your way, in your life as a marketer, as a brand developer, as a person who works with your team? Do you want your clients that the first thought in the morning is your brand, your product, how you can help them? Do they have this in mind when they go to the office? And then, oh, we have a problem. Oh, we could connect to our nice guy, or a nice lady, or a nice woman who helps us with this problem. Do you have this mindset that you really want to connect with your audiences, with your clients in branding, whatever you do, whatever services you have? If you have credit cards, how can you connect to them better? So for this, I want to invite you today in our session to think, get inspired with a few questions that come from the work, from the life of a musician, of a music artist, of a composer, and how you can translate this to your daily work. So first of all, let me ask, who of you is a musician? Musician counts if you have ever sung in the shower. Perfect. It also counts if you're able to make a rhythmic pattern just with forks and a spoon. That also means you're a musician. Who of you is a songwriter? Wonderful. One songwriter. So, but this question is now for all of you. Who are you as a songwriter? Because all of you are creating kind of a song that you sing along all day long in your work. You create something, you create a story, you create lyrics, you create a story that you want your clients to, connect with, connect to. So who are you? That's the most important question of all. We need to figure out who are we, why are we doing what we're doing, and then let's figure out how can we help our clients better. The most famous of songwriters, John Lennon and Paul McCartney, they're also great marketers for the Beatles. They're great innovators, they're great disruptors, they're great artists. They are fearless songwriters. They just do. They want to connect with their audiences. Super different, the two of them. John Lennon was more the introvert, more sometimes melancholic, sometimes a little bit on the depressive side songwriter. While Paul McCartney was the opposite. He was the outgoing, he was the joyful, he was the more bright, the more naive songwriter. And I want to show you an example where you might understand what I mean with that. The song is called Help, and here's the first version of John Lennon playing a demo of it and how it sounds when he wrote it. The second version is the finished version with the finishing touches by Paul McCartney. Let's listen to it.
But now these days are gone, I'm not so insecure. Now I find I've changed my mind, opened up the door.
Quite heavy, right?
Help me if you can.
Quite strong. Paul McCartney.
I'm so self-assured. Now I find I've changed my mind, and opened up the door.
Super different vibe, right?
If you can, I'm feeling down.
The same song, but two different songwriters getting hold of it. The question for you, who is, if you think of yourself, if you think of your company, if you think of your brand, your product, takes something, who of you would be more the John Lennon type? Okay, one hand raised. Who would be more the Paul McCartney type? All right, interesting. Who of you would be neither nor? All right, not so many hands right now. Is your brand more John or Paul? Which means with John Lennon, we have something in mind when we think about him. With Paul McCartney, we have something in mind when we think about him. Would your brand maybe be more like Ringo Starr or George Harrison? Whose brand would be like Ringo Starr? Right? He was the drummer of the Beatles. He wrote a few songs during the Beatles, but he's not really well known as a songwriter. So his identity as a creator is not that well defined. Who would be like George Harrison as a songwriter? Somewhere, and Here Comes the Sun, yeah. So these are a few of his songs. He was a strong songwriter, but also more in the background. But from this, what we can also see from, even these four people here that we have on the slides, creating a strong identity for what we do in order to affect the people we work with on a daily basis is really a key. We all know these songwriters, artists. We all know what they stand for. Weird Al Yankovic, Justin Bieber, Eminem, Barbara Streisand, Michael Jackson, Bruce Springsteen. We might not like all of them, but we know what we get from them. And most important, they have developed their personality as artists really in a strong way. So you really know what you get from when you go to an Eminem concert. It would be weird if Eminem, let's say, would have a concert and all of a sudden sing Barbara Streisand songs, and vice versa. Would be something off. So they have really developed their identity as an artist and also as a marketer, obviously. So from this perspective, what I invite you to do, maybe after this session in your break, which kind of songwriter would be your alter ego, would be your alter ego as an artist? If you think of your work as a brand manager, as an entrepreneur, as a creative artist. Sometimes maybe we also think of, I haven't really develop my own brand. Or our brand, we are kind of a startup, we are very young, we're kind of always redesigning it. Where do I fit in? I don't have the merits of a John Lennon or Paul McCartney so far. What do I do right now? Do I need to stick with who I am? Can I grow somewhere? How does it happen? And the good thing about this, there are no limits of who you want to be. The only limits are possibly, it's maybe a cliche, but really in your imagination. Let's look at this example of another artist who had an identity, but kind of it didn't fit anymore with the artist. So she broke out and tried to be someone else, and let's see if she succeeded or not. See if it works. Yes. Miley Cyrus.
Sucked me in, turned out the light, kept me safe and sound.
Started
at night. Little girl,
Hannah Montana
and on things
with a
like
very
that.
clear identity, right, of who she is.
Brush my
Oh,
teeth and comb
this doesn't fit anymore, right?
had to dry. This is our roots and we can
She outgrew that and wanted to do something else, which was kind of a little bit a mess. Honestly, when we think back of 2013, when she did this whole twerk thing at the MTVs, and I was, wow, this doesn't fit with who we think Miley Cyrus is. But she experimented
I came in
and moved on.
I never hit so hard in love. All I wanted was to break your walls. All you ever did was break me.
So this concept of who we are is quite stable on one hand, like the Beatles, we know who they are. But on the other hand, we also have the freedom, obviously, to develop who we are. Like myself, I always thought of myself when I grew up of kind of being a musician. And then I went to the shoes of business and doing management consulting, and all of a sudden, my identity was more like, oh, I'm a management consultant. That's my identity, and there was nothing wrong with it. Until the moment I realized, there could be more. I want to be more. I want to try something new. And again, in the shoes of a musician. Oh, I'm a musician, by the way. By the way, it's much cooler to say you're a musician than a management consultant, but it's just, like on the sidetrack. And finally, yeah, why not try something else? Why not develop further? Go from the first stage to the maybe awkward second stage to a new stage and try, you know what? Let's do both. Why can't we do music and business consulting? So when you think of yourself, and it's always about what can you take out of this? When you think of yourself, who are you right now in your brand, in your company? Are you happy with this? Is there more for that? Who could you become? How does this look for you, a possible future mission? So a few more questions for this first question. Who are you as a songwriter? Who are you not? Eminem, Barbra Streisand. Who are you not? Which also has huge consequences. Which markets do you work with? Which clients do you work for? Which ones don't you want to work for? Which clients would you like to have? If I were Eminem, but I want to have the audiences of Justin Bieber who are crazy for him, should I change something in my own, behavior style? Which clients do I want? Who do I strive to become? Who am I in the bottom of my heart, in the song selection I have, in the kind of markets I want to work with? What are my strengths? What comes easy to me? Where do I have most success? One simple example, the opening song I started to sing. I like that kind of songs. Michel Legrand, one of the greatest songwriters in my opinion. Great song lyrics. I'm just very comfortable singing with this. Why would I go for a Metallica song opening up when I'm much more comfortable and maybe, have more, results with another song? And then how can you focus more on developing your identity and becoming stronger and maybe a household name for others if you go for clients? When you know who you are, you also need to figure out which song do you write. Which song do you want to create with your company? And I want you to think now again of your brand, of your product, of your company, of your project. We all here come from very different backgrounds, experiences, stories, work in large companies with very well-known brands. We had a few here on stage already, to startups. But think of like an entity or a product that you work with. Think of it as a song. Which song would this be? I give you a few examples. Think of your entity as one of these or other songs. Would your brand identify with one of those? And if yes, let us know, shout it out. Which song would be totally you? Bridge over troubled water. That's always true. When I was thinking of my own song today and yesterday again, Bridge over troubled water is always somewhere, yeah. Other songs?
Chandelier.
Chandelier, why?
I like to think about myself swinging from the chandelier.
All right. Okay, maybe if it's not the other meaning, then it's great, yeah. Other songs? Stand by Me. Yeah, Stand By Me. Maybe sometimes you can always get what you want, or whatever. What else? You'll Never Walk Alone could also be something that reflects to your story. When you think of the other way around, think of your own clients now. Get in the shoes of your clients. When your clients think of your company, of your product, which song would they have in mind then? The same song? A different song? Oh no, my God. Sympathy for the Devil? Crazy? Yeah. Cold, Cold Heart? What a Wonderful World to work with this firm. Born This Way? Sandy and the Clowns. Isn't it rich? Yes. But on a serious note, if the song's how you perceive yourself and how your clients perceive yourself, if there is a huge difference, then you might think of how can you make this genre a little bit more close to fitting each other, or the song selection fitting each other. Really, what is my self-image and what is my client's image of my own company, of my own work? A great song is like a really engaging brand when we also think more deeply about it. Let's think about what great songs have, which features they have. One thing is for sure, they empower us enormously. I have so many friends in the LGBT community who were super empowered by Lady Gaga's songs. Seeing documentaries about being expelled from their home somewhere, like difficult families, and getting empowerment by listening to the songs that help them over difficult times. That's a very enormously powerful things that songs have. They make us feel good. They stick in our minds. So we remember them. We want to sing them all over. Again, they are somewhere like in our DNA as an earworm. And they do this through a really amazing thing. They just focus on a thing. Like this great example that I would like you to listen to. There's one song that is especially sticky, especially empowering, and that also makes us feel good. The song is called Happy. Might have heard of it. And I want to ask you to take note, how often does Pharrell Williams repeat the word happy in this song? I made it a little bit easier for you, but listen to it and count.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say,
Now count quickly.
because I'm happy. Club of happiness, happy, happiness, happy, club of happiness, happy, happiness, happy. Bring me down, can't you know? Bring me down, bring me down, can't bring me down. Club of love, happiness, club of happiness, bring me down, can't you know? Bring me down.
How many times happy? 64? Anyone more or less? 92? A third? Do we get a third offer? It's 69 times. If I didn't make a mistake. I listened to this 10 times, like, oh, it's 68? No, 72, no, 60, no, 69, I think. But feel free to correct me and write me an email later. 69 times happy. This definitely sticks in our mind, right? This definitely makes us feel good. This definitely empowers us as well to be happy. I also watched a video 2 days ago, and it's quite a powerful, like giving the year 2017 and the whole world where we live in right now. So it's very powerful. Watch it again. But what he does, Pharrell Williams, and all great songwriters, all great songs that kind of stick, they focus on one story, on one lyrics, on one melody that they repeat over and over again. And this is what makes them stand out. And this is basically the whole same spiel with our work. When we need to develop our product, when we want to market our product, when we want to market ourselves, how do we stick out? The opposite of right is right, as we heard in this morning, right? So how do you stick out? By making something unique. And even if it is, not a song or like an artistic product, but if you produce chairs, how do you stick out? How do you make this important part of the journey of your clients? And for today, I don't have answers. Don't expect this from me. And I cannot have the answers for you, but I want you to think about this perspective. The next time you listen to a great song on the radio, also ask yourself the question, why does this actually stick? Yeah, because they're really focused, they're really enthused, and they really mean the message. There are other things as well. They make us sing along. My loneliness is killing me. I must confess, I still believe. So we can't help but sing along in our minds, right? A great brand does this as well. It makes us sing along their story, their mission. Trader Joe's is a great example that we want to sing along with their mission. They want to bring, brightness and joy also in the way they sell products. And you kind of feel that when you go to a Trader Joe's store. The employees, they make a great difference, positive difference. Also, the example of Whole Foods we heard already today. If you want fresh food, local, organic food, we are willing to pay a little bit more for the great experience that we get out of that. This brand is an amazing example for making us sing along with their mission, with their work. I live in Boston, and I moved to East Boston recently, and they don't have Whole Foods there. So there are other large supermarkets, but we now even take sometimes quite of a journey to go to a Whole Foods for some products. Not every day, not the whole paychecks thing, not half paycheck of the month, but for some products, they make a difference for that. Great songs relate to us. At times they make us dance or to move. They're moving. They make us reflect. I met my old lover on the street last night. She seemed so glad to see me, I just smiled. And we talked about some old days, and we drank ourselves some beers. Still crazy after all these years. Ooh, and so on and so forth. Still crazy after all these years. A wonderful song for reflecting. Maybe you don't reflect with your brand, you don't make your clients reflect about your love life or whatever, but they can reflect about their own work. If you're a consultant, if you're a branding agency, you want them to reflect of their own work and what they might have done great, what they might do differently. They make us want to hear more. I think that's obvious. They make us feel, and they inspire us. How about you? How about your brand, product, and service? If you look at this list, where are you particularly good at? Where are you engaging your clients? Is your product engaging in any of these, features? Any of these that stick out to you are saying, oh yeah, we are the best in empowering our clients. anything that comes up from your side. Yeah, you can do this internally as well. it's all valid, you know. Good songwriting. I think there are more John Lennons here than Paul McCartneys. But think of this, where do we have high engagement with our work? Where do we really meet, you know, what our clients want? Where are we the best at? Maybe we only are good at empowering our clients if we sell, let's say, like protection for the house, like alarm systems, and make them more safe, empower them. That's all we need to do. But how can we be better there? Engage more, connect more directly. Maybe just focus on that and forget all the others. How can we make sure if we have some levels of high engagement, for example, we make them dance and move, maybe we engage with them. Also, let's make sure this is relevant to their work, right, and to their daily lives. If we do a great job in having high customer satisfaction, in going out of our way to answering their emails like an hour after they are sent. If we send, like Caterpillar does this, like a service 24 hours later after each time they say, oh, we have a problem, to send the backup team latest 24 hours after a call has been received to the site of the client. Doesn't matter if this is Japan or Hawaii or Raleigh. If we have this level of engagement with our customers, how do we make sure they really value this? And this is a part of their, you know, next decision of whether they want to do business with us or not. So if we are great at engagement, how can we make sure this is really valued by the client? If we have low engagement, there are also two options. The one option is, how can we make it better? Or the second option is, can we measure if this at all makes a difference? Maybe if I sell Caterpillar, I don't need them to be inspired. I just want them to be empowered, right? So, but whatever it is, make sure you connect to them not just on this very intellectual heavy approach, but also ask yourself the question, what can we do better to really connect and be there honestly, authentic, and with basically all our personality, all our heart, and all our work. All right, so which story do you tell? If we ask ourselves the questions, what story do we tell? Is it engaging to anyone? When you think of your brand again as assignment for later, is your work, who engages with that? Do your clients want that? Who are you writing the story for who is not, for until now, who is not really client of yours? How would you like to change this? What makes it different? What makes it a little bit better, a little bit more inspiring than all the others? And as a fourth question, when it comes to which story do you write, how do you express it? And this, we have a lot of branding agencies here at the conference and branding experts, also like design experts, but how do you really express it? How do you shape it? How do you market it to the outside world? I'll give you one glance at the world of music, how this can have two totally different outcomes, the same story be told, two different outcomes. Let's look at that.
If I were a rich man,
The Fiddler on the Roof.
All day long I pity, pity, drum. If I were a wealthy man, you wouldn't have to work.
Give it up. If I was a rich girl, na 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 na. See, I'd have all the money in the world. If I was a wealthy girl, no man could test me, impress me. My cash flow would never ever end. 'Cause I'd have all the money in the world if I was a wealthy girl.
Same song, same story told. Maybe this could be the difference between Apple and Microsoft a few years ago. Maybe this could be the difference of Aldi and Trader Joe's. By the way, it is the story of Aldi and Trader Joe's. This Trader Joe's is part of Aldi. Maybe there's a difference of Shaw's and Whole Foods, maybe not. But how can we make the story express the way we think makes it very effective for our audiences? And let's be honest, also let's look at our current way of presenting ourselves. Maybe at your own websites, maybe at your own, pitch decks. Are you more the Fiddler on the Roof, like cozy thing, or are you the edgy Gwen Stefani approach? Maybe both fit. Maybe the Fiddler on the Roof approach works better for you. But think of that, don't forget it, how to present yourself. All right, we have a few minutes left. And since songwriting and telling stories is what we do on a daily basis with our clients, they usually express their own stories, their own challenges, their own topics, their own problems sometimes in branding, from branding to teamwork, as songs. I would like for you to express yourself also a little bit. For this, when we write a good song or when we write any song, there are different ways of starting this. So one thing is, sitting, very typical, sitting with the guitar or sitting at the piano and, play some chords and then figure it out. And then also you already have a song and something in mind. I love you so much, I love you so much, whatever it is. Really silly example. But you start somewhere. What as songwriters, what a trick of ours is to start a song is to actually include our senses with this. It means if we have a story, for example, if I'm in love with a person, or if I'm in a room like this at a beautiful conference, how do we start it? The conference, the title could be, I'm at the conference, I'm at the conference, I'm at the conference, so yeah! This would be one form of expressing it. The other one would be a little bit more subtle, that I really create a story and start it with writing down, how does my story taste? How does my story look? How does my story move? How does my story smell? One example, for example, how does your brand taste? And you could sit there and think, oh, it tastes actually like a green sour apple on a hot summer afternoon while I'm waiting for the bus to get me back from an exhausting hiking trip. Maybe this is what comes up to you. Or it comes up, your brand smells like cheap aftershave mixed with sweat during rush hour in the Boston public transport system. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about here. But I want you to feel your brand a little bit. So what I'd like you to do now, get out your notebooks and a pen or a pencil, and think of your brand and write for 2 minutes, how does it either taste or look or move or smell? If it were a person, how would it do this? How would it be? Be very descriptive, like the way I did before, write many adjectives. It's not like it tastes like an apple, but it tastes like a smelly, old, funky apple that I should put in the trash, or whatever you want to. Write it for 2 minutes and then share it with your neighbor on the left or on the right. Go. One pro tip when we write songs or when we're in the mood or in the process or in the flow of songwriting, like this process really helps a lot, and we try to do this every day in the morning. Like 10 minutes, sense-bound writing, that's how it's called. How does an object taste, look, move, smell? And you can write about the table you're sitting at, you can write about your neighbor, you can write about a chair, you can write about your husband, you can write about your company, whatever. 10 minutes each day writing this works wonders. Third question, which we go only on the surface now, but how do you relate when you write a song with your person as a songwriter? How do you relate to your audience, actually? And that's an important question, even as a songwriter. If I'm Bruce Springsteen, who is my audience? Who is, accompanying me over decades? Who do I want them to be? So we already talked about these topics, but it's really important that you know who are you writing this song for? Who are you designing the product for? Obviously. Who is your target audience? Room full of experts. I think I don't have to tell you much more. You know this much better. But having this in mind, who are you dedicating your time and your work to? Also, who is not your audience, of course. So, these 3 questions that we should take from, at least these 3, from the artists, from the songwriters, from the musicians. Who are you? Which song do you write? What is your product, your brand? Who is your audience? Who are your clients? And how can you relate to them better? And all of a sudden, with these 3 circles, a lot of other, like, it's not even a circle, not a half circle, things pop up between songwriter and song. Why is the song important to me as a songwriter, like in the middle? Why is my audience important to me? How do I connect to my audience? So all these questions, all of a sudden, so a lot of work to do for us when we think about this. If you want to get a little bit better understanding of what we do, have a look at sound-leadership.com, where we have a few examples of how we work with companies in this way. Sound-leadership.com. But at the end of this session, I would like you once again think about your work and think of your work as a brand manager. Think about your clients as well, and listen to this song once more. I want to see your face in every kind of light, in fields of dawn and forests of the night. And when you stand before the candles on a cake, oh, let me be the one to hear the silent wish you make. Those tomorrows waiting deep in your eyes, in the world of love you keep in your eyes. I'll awaken what's asleep in your eyes. And now you need to think very metaphorically. It may take a kiss or two through all of my life, summer, winter, spring, and fall of my life. All I ever will recall of my life is all of my life with you. Thank you very much.